We're live now?
Yep.
Okay. All right, 10:15, and we're gonna call the committee of the whole meeting to order. So welcome, everyone. I'd like to start by acknowledging that we are privileged to meet on the unceded and ancestral territories of the Squamish and St'át'imc Nations. And with that, we have an agenda recommendation.
That the. Hold on.
There, I got you.
Thank you. That the agenda of this meeting be adopted.
Be approved. Be approved.
Approved.
Thank you,
I'm going
Cynthia.
from memory.
Okay, second for that. Thank you, Melissa. Are there any objections? Okay, seeing and hearing none, then we have a couple of minute recommendations.
That the minutes of the committee of the full meeting held on November 12th, 2025 be adopted.
Thank you, Melissa. A second for that. Thank you, Cynthia. Any objections? Seeing and hearing none, that's carried. One more.
That the minutes of the finance committee meeting held on November 12th, 2025 be adopted.
Thank you, Melissa. A second for that. Thank you, Cynthia. Any objections? Seeing and hearing none, then that's carried. So next up, we under trustee items, we have a section where you, if you're interested, I don't think it's mandatory that you express interest or not, but if you do want to, we'll start with any interest in board chair, and that is coming up at the public meeting. The election.
So I'm confused. I thought we needed to be nominated, no? We just show interest?
This is just the expression of interest. We do the nomination and elections at the public meeting.
This is just if you want to like say anything about running, if you're interested in running.
Okay,
You
yes,
can
I
express-
express interest. I will stand for board chair.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? Okay, well, I will also be interested in re-election of board chair. I just want to say that I think I do a pretty good job of seeing how facilitating at the they had at Academy, there was a section on being a board chair. And I think that at any cost, I'm trying to make the decisions that are in the best interest of the district. And whether or not that costs me votes is not a consideration. And be it as a area C representative or as the board chair. So it's not about popularity for me. And, you know, I've done board work for chair for many different organizations over the last probably 25, 30 years. So definitely interested again. Is there anyone else that wants to speak about board chair? Okay, board vice chair.
I am interested in staying on as vice chair, and again, I've enjoyed the role and I feel like I've learned a lot. And some learning opportunities at Academy and different places, and I feel well supported by everyone here and thank them for all of that support and confidence that they've instilled. So I would like to stand for re-election for board chair. Vice chair. Oh, vice chair. My gosh. No. Number 2. Vice chair.
Is there any other expression of interest? Okay, so then that brings us to our BCSTA Provincial Council representative.
Okay, I love doing that, so I would be interested, but if anyone else wants to put a hat in, then I encourage you to also experience.
Thank you, Melissa. Is there anyone else? Okay, hearing none, then that is the Provincial Council alternate, if there's anyone interested.
Okay.
And I think you're currently, Cynthia?
I'm currently, but as Melissa said, it's super interesting. To be a part of BC, the state provincial council, we do interesting things, and I think that they moved everything to. Virtual. Yeah, to virtual.
No, thanks. Just. Great, thank you. So yeah, I think they've moved everything to virtual. And so it's easier for more people to attend, but I'm happy to stand as the alternate again, unless there's someone who would like to pop into that position, and then I'm happy to not be the alternate, but happy to also be.
Was there anyone else interested in being in the alternate? Okay, seeing and hearing none, then that is completed. So we have information items, trustee calendar and upcoming events.
Thank you. Okay, so today we have our school board office recognition lunch, and that will be held here in the boardroom here. We have quite a large amount of people coming. I think there's over 50, so we're gonna have a pretty good turnout for both.
50?
Yeah,
50.
yeah, with like bus drivers and maintenance staff, IT. Yeah, so there's gonna be, and we might even be having lunch in some of the other boardrooms, so we're gonna have a good
We're
turnout
not getting
today.
50 in here.
Yeah, yeah. And anyway, so we have to be done this meeting around 12:15, just to make sure we have time to set up and make room for everybody else, because they're all gonna be showing up here around 12:30. So just wanted to let everybody know about that. And then the next event is we have DPAC. The next event on the schedule is DPAC meeting, which is online. It's December 15th. Then we're already into next year, 2026, which is the first item there is our agenda setting meeting, which is January 6th, which the chair and board chair are the board representatives for that one. January 14th is our board meeting date. January 28th is our board education session, which we'll be talking about in a little bit. And then January 29th is the BCPC AGM. That's going to be online. April's currently the representative for that. And I've also registered to be attending that one this year. And then we're into February. So February 2nd, we have agenda setting committee, which is the chair and board chair again. February 11th is our board meeting day. And then February 13th is our implementation day. So which has to be an Indigenous focus. And it's going to be happening at Don Ross Middle School as well as Whistler Secondary School. I don't know if there's anything else you want to add about that at all. I guess it's welcome, all trustees are welcome to attend. So are you looking for a board participation at all at this point?
No, because the nations typically are hosting the event and do the morning welcome, so we don't.
Okay.
We're not involved in that way, but all of the board is certainly welcome to attend and take part.
Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah, so that's on Friday, February 13th. It's Friday the 13th. So yeah, if anyone's able to attend, it'd be great to see you there. Like all of the staff will be there, so just let us know if you're able to come, either to Whistler or the Squamish one at Don Ross. Does anyone think that they might be able to attend that one?
I can come in right now. Yeah.
Yeah,
Is it listed in Spanish?
Whistler Secondary School, and then the other one's at Don Ross. Yeah,
For me, that's the date of our PLC annual meeting, so I'll be.
so you'll be able to attend. Can you hear it? Oh, okay, wasn't sure if it's your microphone, by the way. Okay, great. Anybody else? Okay, we can touch base again. We'll touch base again in January and see. And actually,
April, just so you know, your camera isn't on.
oh, yes,
Oh, sorry, it was on.
we have 2 more board meetings. I can give you a reminder of it then. Okay, and then we also have, in February is a busy month for us, because we also have our partner and rights holders meeting. the yearly partner group meeting, and that's gonna be at Whistler Secondary School. Does everybody think they'll be able to attend that one?
No, as a reminder, I sent an email out a couple months ago.
I remember you can't attend. Everyone else? Anyone else have any conflicts with that date? February 18th.
Okay.
Okay, just let me know.
And that's at Whistler also.
That's at Whistler Secondary School, yeah.
It just has location to be,
Mm,
which TBC.
I think to be confirmed.
Confirmed, okay.
Yeah. I think it's gonna be there, right? I don't know if we haven't officially got into planning yet, but
It's the easiest location.
it's a really good, it's very spacious too, and there's lots of room. So I like that. Okay. Keep on going. There's a link there for school winter concerts. So obviously trustees attendance is optional. If you're planning on attending any, please let us know so we can pass on to the principals. If you're planning on attending any events. We've attached the committee appointments into the agenda, so those are from last year. And the committee types are attached after the elections tonight. Usually the board chair will take a look and like reassign it as needed. So if there's anything specific that you'd like to be in attendance for on one of the committees, email the board chair after tonight. Okay, any questions on that?
I'll make a comment.
Just to say that I've enjoyed serving on DPAC and I would gladly continue. And Vancouver Coastal, I think we talked about this at some point, but not much is, I think we could do more to make that like a meaningful experience. It was very meaningful during COVID and now is less so. And I don't know if that document suggested that it might go away.
Sure.
Is that? Okay. I wasn't sure if this page 2. Yeah, I saw it, but then one of the other pages, I was like, was there suggestion it might go away? I think we could just make it more. I don't know. I don't know if you have ideas.
Are they
about that.
not meeting anymore or?
There's hardly meetings, like there are emails, and I don't know if you guys are meeting with Vancouver Coastal in a way that maybe I could not necessarily to give opinion, but to be witness to what is happening in terms of discussions with Vancouver Coastal. And I think it's just kind of fallen off the wayside since COVID.
Yeah, so the table has been meeting with the district, school district and the Vancouver Coastal reps. That's staff. There's no governance oversight there. That said, not opposed to that idea, but I think that would be a discussion at a board meeting for a motion, because you'd be adding a trustee membership to a committee, and we probably have to connect with Vancouver Coastal as well in terms of reference and what that means, what that looks like.
Yeah.
So happy to support that through the chair.
I think that's totally fine. And my suggestion would be not necessarily to influence or necessarily be a part of the committee, but more of like in an observatory, like just for us to see what's happening. And so we can provide that like governance oversight, but not be involved in decision making as a voting member of the committee kind of idea. That's what I'm suggesting. So those were and
Yeah.
I would be happy to continue doing that appointment as well, but just with like a revised kind of sense of purpose, because it's become something that is like,
Not
Nothing.
quite functional, but.
well, it's not, it's like a nothing thing anymore. I'm like, I feel like I have things to offer, but
For sure. Thank you. Yeah.
Okay, so we already talked about partner group meeting. Just skip over that one. And then the next item is a statement of financial disclosure. So this is a requirement, all trustees must fill in this form. And it's due to us by January 15th. So if you haven't already, please fill in the form and get it to us. It's a requirement for the Financial Disclosure Act. Does anyone have any questions on that?
Thank you. With that, then we get to BCSD STA Trustee Academy report. So we can all take turns. So I'll start over here, Cynthia.
Oh, so lucky to go first.
Then we can all take it out.
I really think that that was probably one of the best academies that we ever went to. And I brought some things with me from our first day, which was all focused on hands-on Indigenous experiences or practices or workshops. And it was terrific. Okay, I'll find the other ones in a bit, but we had a chance to make these really beautiful cedar weavings. And so we made them and we decided that we thought it would be lovely to leave them at the board office over by the coffee station and then
Coasters.
coasters
Yes.
and have them for use for everyone. And so that was terrific. It was a really great experience. I thought there was a lot of generosity offered by the presenters in that they supplied us with all the supplies we needed to make the coasters. And then there was another presentation on medicines. Our plants are medicines. And again, they provided us, everyone in the whole conference, with a sachet with a really generous supply of Epsom salts, and there was some dried flowers and scents to use as a soothing and cleansing wash, as well as a little fabric pin that we could create to help promote safety. Just really nice. And it was a nice opportunity for everyone to come together and work with our hands and be together and discuss and learn new things. So that was really, really great. I thought it was a perfect day one, like pre-conference, really just lovely in all aspects. And then what I really wanted to mention too, that I think is a nice maybe tie into our upcoming strategic plan, was the keynote speaker, a woman named Farah Mohammed, who is a Nobel Peace Prize winner. She's also former CEO of the King's Trust, which is like an amazing organization supporting children. And also the former CEO, or maybe even still present CEO, I could be wrong, I'd have to check my notes, of the Malala Foundation. So this really incredible woman who came to speak, who apparently rarely says yes to speaking engagements, came and spoke and offered some insight that I thought was particularly in line with our strategic plan, but could maybe even enhance it a little bit. And she let me take a picture of her speaker notes, which I was like, how generous. And this is what the point of this really long sentence is. Our strategic plan binds nicely with these 5 concepts. And I think we can maybe enhance with a little, but we can have more discussion about that later. But the concepts of empathy, creativity, ethical reasoning, which I love, collaboration, and adaptability. So I can see the merge and maybe the growth, or, you know, just by using a little bit of a tweak in language, how that can enhance our strategic plan. So I really thought that was a great takeaway, a really great opportunity to learn something from an outside source that I really feel that we can use to enhance the work that we do here in our school district. So very valuable. Do you want me to go on, or should I like be quiet and let some other people have a chance to contribute?
It's up to you.
You provide good summaries.
Okay, if people want to jump in or just say stop, I'm okay. Minister Bear, she was great. She advised us all to, in light of the idea of more childcare being provided by districts, she invited us all to write a letter to Emily Arthur, the Executive Director of Childcare at the Ministry of Child Education and Childcare, detailing, she said, if we really want to advocate well, we need to detail a successful childcare partnership in our district and how the funding we need is required in order to continue doing those things. So I thought, again, a really good learning. Like, I don't know where else I would have heard this. Like she said, this is who you talk to and this is how you do it. So I thought that was useful. And then I had a curious question that I thought maybe we could explore it, and that was whether or not if we had a board-approved childcare program for birth to 5, can we include those kids in our 701 count? Like, would they become part of our school population, and should they be funded in that way? It's a curious question that came from what Minister Bear had to say. Then I attended Trustee Code of Conflict and Freedom of Expression workshop, chairing through conflict workshop, working with people governing in the public interest, which was put on by Susan Hoffman and who was with her? Oh, maybe Tracy Loeffler?
Yeah.
Maybe, yeah. Yeah, and they introduced the 6 new learning modules that are coming out through the BCSTA. So new.
Carolyn Brody.
Oh, Carolyn Brody, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
That one.
The pre-chair, yeah. So those new modules coming out are governance and legislation, working with people, which they kind of workshopped in our session. So that was interesting. Relations with First Nations, evidence-informed decision-making, planning for impact, and financial and resource management. So 6 new modules coming out. I think we should really watch for those, because when they workshopped, the one that they did with us was excellent. And then I went to, what is PSEC, the Public Sector Education Employer Council? Very technical, but interesting. I learned a lot about how PSEC came to be. I think it was a really good history lesson. And then we had our branch meetings, and then we had day 3, which I think was good, but I don't have any notes. We had the Minister of Infrastructure, she spoke, and who was the person who spoke prior? Gosh. Yeah, I'll leave it at that. Someone else can fill that in. So anyway, really good.
Awesome, thank you.
Okay, thanks.
Rachel? Do you want to add in?
I unfortunately missed the beginning, which I would have loved to have attended, thanks to a wedding changing a date. So I didn't arrive until a bit later the first day. I wasn't that impressed, to be honest. I had a different opinion on the rest of the academy. I thought it was, and I filled out the survey that we all received post. I just didn't find it as inspiring as I normally do. I attended the Trustee Codes of Conduct and Freedom of Expression as well. It was interesting, the cases that were brought forward about trustee conduct and how difficult it is to actually really do anything to get a decision on whether the behavior is appropriate or not. So that was quite interesting, because it was very glaring to all of us there that these people had really violated the code of conduct. So that was somewhat interesting. I attended the Building Inclusive and Accessible Education Settings, which was put on by the Canucks Autism Network. I found it interesting just from a perspective of having a child with ASD. They talked about how we should be using other methods of communicating about students with special needs rather than calling them low functioning, use other terms such as she has other communication needs. So, it really didn't, I didn't find that it connected with the actual public education though. It was sort of a separate thing, so I found that a little confusing. And then I attended the First Nations Educational Initiative, and really they were talking about how the crisis in attendance is very alarming for the province, and that there's still 9 districts that don't have Indigenous education committees, which is somewhat concerning. And yeah, that was the results of the students have been so bad that even life expectancy has dropped by 6 years. So it was sort of a very alarming result. And then unfortunately we had to leave a little bit earlier. They were having problems with the system, the sound system or something on Saturday, and we had to leave the keynote early. So yeah, that's all my comments. Yes, Cynthia.
I'm sorry, I should never go first.
Thank you, Rachel. Melissa?
Cynthia, I appreciate that you go first because you take way better notes than I do. I don't, yeah, anyway, I really loved the first day where we were told some stories. I loved the storytelling. I could have listened to that lady all day. And then making the coasters. I love the hands-on, and I love that we were together hands-on. So it was a time to tell stories and hear stories. And then there was the one table beside us that kept getting in trouble because they were too loud. It was like being in a classroom.
What did she keep saying? How can you be listening to me if you're talking?
Yeah. I was like,
Ooh, that's really funny to say.
okay, yeah. And it wasn't even our class. It wasn't even our.
Yeah, we
Um,
were well behaved.
We were. Which is not surprising. We were a good group. We are a good group. The Haida ceremony, Our Plants, Our Medicines. I also really loved that one. And she had her recipes out so that we could take pictures, which is such a gift to be able to take those pictures and know that that was shared by Jenny Cross. And I'm sorry, I don't know if it's Dana or Dana, but she is a trustee who is helping Jenny Cross. And it was also neat to see her afterwards and be able to be
Dana.
like, hey, about that dandelion cell, like, tell me more. And she was really open to conversation afterwards, as everyone's really busy. And I really liked I liked listening to the keynote speaker. I don't think that I heard it the same way that Cynthia did. But she was really interesting to listen to and to hear the struggles that she went through for Muhammad, just to be in the position that she's in, and overcoming the things that you overcome. The second day, I really liked how it was broken out into governance, legal issues, human rights and equity, emerging issues, so that you could, but the groups were all different, but with the same theme. So if you were really interested in something governance, but you also really wanted to see something else, you knew that it wasn't going to be repeated in the exact same form, but it was still governance model. So if you felt that you needed more on governance or on emerging issues, you could get your whole day around that, or you can split it up. But I liked the themes. Yeah, we had to leave early because of the technical issues, but I really did want to hear the end of what was she, the Ministry of Infrastructure? Yeah, I found that to be really interesting. And I felt bad that we did have to leave because we had to go back to the Hyatt to check out and get all our stuff out. And so people were trickling out, but what she had to say was really interesting and really important. So it was too bad that it was delayed because of technical issues, but yeah, there's not
But
much we could do.
if I
about
can
that.
jump in too, thanks to Chris who did stay.
Yeah, Chris did
And
stay and
till the
put
end, and
notes.
yeah, he
Yeah.
has all the info.
Yeah,
So-
yeah, thank you
Yeah,
for that.
notes.
And he
Good.
was right on it right away. He sent us some notes, so that was great. Yeah. Overall, good, informative couple of days.
Perfect. Thanks, Melissa. April?
Yeah, I'll come at it from a different angle because I sit on the PLC, so I'm part of the organizing committee and all of that. And I have to give a shout out to Gordon Lee. Gordon Lee is like an amazing human. He's got a really good pulse on where we are at in our learning. Interesting, like for me too, as well, the first day was so powerful. And I felt that I felt kindness in the room in all 3 sessions. I felt like it came from a place of what you used the word generosity. I'd use the word kindness. And the presenters were, I mean, Denise Augustine, you are right. You could listen to that woman tell stories all day long. She is amazing. She also has had influence on a lot of organizations, educational organizations in British Columbia. So she brings a lot to the game. You can tell, I love that woman. Also the other 2, I had to laugh at Rita too, when she was correcting the room. I felt like, oh yeah, there we go. We're right back in grade 1. It felt really good. She was very sweet. But the part that I really liked about that is we sat at a table as a group and we worked through what one might think was a simple weaving problem, but you know what, presented little issues because the cedar was wet and was slippery. And I remember I had the advantage that I thought it was like the same as making the lattice work on a pie. It was just a very team building session, I thought, as well as we, learned how to, as well as the practical application. It felt like a nice opportunity for us to just not have our brain so listening to every single solitary word, apart from be quiet while I give you the instruction, that it just gave us a moment to relax and use our hands for a change instead of our brains in a 3-day conference where your brains are working so hard that, and I always think at the end of the day, how am I so exhausted? Well, your brains. That's why why I'm so exhausted at the end of those days. So I loved that session. And going back to what Gordon said at our debrief, because of course the PLC has a debrief at the end of the conference, and we all of us, every single person, every single PLC member, which is a representative of each of our branches, raved about day 1. And Gordon, at the end of it, he said, you all need to go onto the feedback page and put that in there. He said, because you don't, and for Gordon Lee to make this comment, you got to know that it's got a level of truth. He said, you don't know how many trustees came up to me and said, really, haven't we done enough of the Aboriginal stuff?
Yeah.
And that we just all did exactly what you just did. We went, no way. He said, yeah, there are trustees and more than one that will come forward and say that. He said, so all of you, and I'm going to say to all of you, please make sure that in your feedback that you say how good it made you feel, because that was the point. The point was how it made you feel. It was not, guilt-ridden with making us feel bad about being settlers. There was none of that. It was just about Indigenous ways of learning and doing. And the point was to make all of you feel good. And if you did, you need to reflect that on your feedback page, because there will be many people who will be saying what I said, which made us all go, oh, right? So please take the time to do that. And the rest of the conference was brain intensive for sure. Unlike you guys, I didn't have a choice of the sessions I went to. So there was a couple I wanted to go to and didn't get an opportunity to because I was assigned to a certain room. But even that, I think I was in the room with Rachel a couple of times, and I agree with what her comments were on those breakout sessions. I too wondered about the relevancy, but of some of them, but I think it's to give us knowledge about the things that are going on in schools. I think that's the biggest part. It's not that it's not that if you were in any of the ones that weren't governance, it was more about giving us base knowledge about what happens in schools. And I think that's important too. So anyway, please fill out your review. And I have to say, I love being a member of the PLC. It's great. You get a lovely scarf every year, which everybody's super jealous of. But I really enjoy it. So thank you very much for supporting me in that.
Thank you, Gabriel. I don't think I'll add too much to what everyone else did, other than, I agree with Rachel in that I felt like there were certain areas that fell flat. You know, the talk about the daycare, the 0 to 5, but there was no talk about funding it. You know, we would love to provide those opportunities, but to be able to fund it, to be able to hire for it, to be able to even just accommodate parking, as you're seeing in some of our emails, we have some great issues in some of our schools. So there were certain points like that I've thought fell flat a little. The day one, what I took from that is, so I love the session when they did it by season. So I attended springtime. And first of all, to have an elder or a community, because they're both from there, of Haida Gwaii, being willing to share everything. A lot of people in I can say in Statlium will hold that information close and not be willing to share it. And here she's out there, they're sharing. We had a tincture they make with us that they were given each a sample of salve. We were no, it was elderberry tincture that they made for us to drink. We all had a cup. Lisa McCullough and I served everybody helped serve everyone in the room. But to be able to be sharing that, and like Melissa mentioned with the recipes out there, and she's like, come on up, take pictures. I'm working on a book to publish it. So I just find that amazing. And then the other piece, when we were doing the weaving for, I can't remember her name now, our instructor, Rita, I think, or something.
Rita.
Yeah.
The weaving was Rita. Yeah.
For her to say that she can't get the cedar bark in her own territory anymore, and she has to pay for it.
Yeah.
So we look
surprising.
at some of the wealthier Indigenous communities because they have massive partnerships, but they have no land remaining, or they have no access to natural materials. You know, and so wealth is measured in different ways. Like we can go out and harvest cedar bark anytime in Statlium. And for her, I think she said when she teaches these classes, I think she spent last year's $30,000
Yeah.
purchasing the bark, and has to get like someone to go and harvest for her. I think on the island is what she said. So that's a piece that really struck me. I attended a few different ones on governance and what our role is, or no, what our role is not, is how they worded it. And so things like you're not no longer an advocate for a single issue or person. You're not staff implementing the work assigned. You're not a committee member focusing on a single subject matter. So those pieces kind of resonated with me. And also understanding what is confidentiality was a huge conversation, because many of us, we don't know where that line is sometimes. There was chairing in conflict, which I mentioned earlier a little bit, was a great session, and I don't think I've ever attended one quite like it. So I found a lot of good information there. Working with people governing and public interest. I just felt that this one, even though it was all about the training modules, which I think are quite exciting, the presentation piece kind of fell a little flat in that there were a lot of like, choose something from this list. Well, I would choose either all the above or none of the above. And it was like, well, you don't have a choice. You have to choose one. And I'm like, well, but I don't agree with any of them. So in that aspect, I'm like, I don't know if I necessarily agree with that. And then there was talk about quality decision making. And as a trustee, how can I ensure that my thinking and decisions are sound? As trustees, how might we ensure that our thinking supports sound decision making and governance? And who are you in your learning ecosystem? So there were definitely pieces that I found a lot of value, and I won't restate some of what others have said. But there were definitely a couple of things that fell flat, which I will report back, so. Yeah, thank you. So that brings us, I don't think Kevin's joining us until 11:15. So I think we can move ahead on the agenda. Oh, yes, question?
So thanks for reporting out so that we can hear what it was like. The one question that I had is maybe for the planning committee. In the past, there's been discussion of either recording or streaming or making some of the talks accessible outside of actual in-person attendance. Was that explored at all?
Not that I know of, and
Okay.
I should have brought forward it. And
It's okay. Yeah, it's okay.
The next
For the future, yeah.
Yeah, maybe, Celeste, if you just would send me a reminder.
I'll send you an email
You know,
and then you
when-
can
when it's
forward
The
it.
time,
Mhm.
we meet again, it's
Sure.
that in the date, the 13th and 14th of February. So
Okay.
that would be a really good place
Okay,
for me, and I'll put it in my notes right now.
yeah.
But that means I've got to remember to read my notes, which I try to, but I might
It's
not.
hard,
So if you just
yeah.
Send me a text right before the 13th of February. If the two of us try,
Mm-hmm.
I'll get it.
You got it. Yeah, I think just for me, I really appreciate the honest comments about maybe some of the talks falling flat. I like to read material. I don't necessarily love to do the in-person learning, although I recognize that there are benefits. And so the opportunity to participate by listening or watching a video for me, I don't know that attending Academy is worth the hotel costs for me personally, but I would be interested in listening to the presentations, especially the ones that, fellow trustees say, yes, that was a really powerful, good use of my time.
Some of the presenters said they were gonna make the PowerPoints available.
PowerPoints are archived
Oh,
Well,
okay.
this-
On the hub.
on the hub.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Or SharePoint or whatever we call it now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Portal. Thank you.
Heather, I don't believe at this point, I don't believe that that it's videoed. Like you can't
Right.
watch the presentation, you have to be there.
Really listening
So was
would
that
be
what you're
amazing.
asking me to- okay.
Yeah, I would. I mean, if I had a magic wand, what I would love is something as easy as Spotify so that when I'm doing the dishes or like doing the things that need to be done in my house, I can throw in my earphones and I can digest the information that way just to maximize use of time. That would be in an ideal world, but I recognize that might not
Yeah.
be as easy as said.
I agree, that'd be fantastic.
It'd be helpful, yeah. And I would also add that looking at the PowerPoints might be challenging without the word.
Yeah,
that's
right. Not quite in
Like, I think the
context.
PowerPoints
Yeah.
you put on there for those of us who've attended
Over there.
the session and want to have a refresh or a reminder or
Mhm.
whatever, so.
Well, we've had,
Yeah.
like sessions so full that I couldn't get into one.
Yeah.
So went to something else, or when Chris and I were presenting it, I think, was that at
Last year.
AGM or was that? It
Uh,
doesn't, it
AGM
doesn't,
last year,
irrelevant. So
yeah.
because we were presenting, I didn't get to attend anything.
Mhm.
So being able to go back and listen to something would be
Yeah.
wonderful.
Really good.
Melissa?
Just to add on to that too, what you're saying, it's also when you're in it, you're listening as much as you can, but you do miss things. So to be able to listen to it again, go back, yeah, would be fantastic. So that's really.
Mhm.
I'm gonna email them today, so.
Perfect, thank you. Okay, I'm not, Chris?
Sorry, before we go on, may I just? For some
Absolutely.
clarification, there were some questions and I just wanted to answer because I do have the agenda in front of me, so. You had spoken of asking who was the person who presented before Minister Ma for
Yeah, thank
infrastructure,
you.
and that was Lisa Southern. And she presented a session on putting the trust in trustees,
That's
navigating
right.
the ethical landscape.
Yes, that's right. It was good. Yeah.
And I
Yeah, it
would
was.
say, from my perspective, I thought they did a really good job of making that accessible and didn't surface some stuff, but went a little bit deep. So I thought
Mhm.
that was really powerful.
Mhm.
And then in terms of, I think it's worth sharing with the rest of the group. I don't know who's watching, but a key takeaway from Minister Ma at near the end of the session, and I appreciated her vulnerability and honesty, which was simply that all capital, all monies are tied up in ensuring that there are classroom spaces for kids. So for districts that are experiencing higher enrollment, this is about building classrooms, adding on to schools that need classrooms, but there wouldn't be money available for the larger expansion capital projects beyond which we put forward to the board every year for
Mhm.
approval. So reading between the lines, we know we've all been waiting to hear about our seismic upgrade and expansion at Howe Sound. And I think it was pretty clear that that will not be happening for us or for any other districts, probably for the time being. So just wanted to share that with the whole board, that was a key takeaway. And again, to Minister Ma's credit, I really appreciated her honesty.
Yeah.
She felt more like someone giving us the goods rather than a politician. No offense to politicians, but I just appreciated her forthrightness and honesty.
And I found that in her, since day one. She became the minister.
Yeah. And then one
She's
minor
really direct.
correction, respectfully, I think you had said that the presenter who was a senator had won the Nobel Peace Prize.
Yeah.
She was speaking about Malala, saying she was the youngest person to receive the prize, so
Oh,
she's
yeah. no
wonderful in
trouble.
her own right, but it was specifying that.
Oh, from Malala.
Yes.
Okay.
just,
I know
Have
when
it
I was
corrected.
reading through my notes, I didn't remember that actually happening, but then I trusted my notes, but clearly incorrect. So thank you for that, Chris. Yeah, no trouble. Thanks for clearing that up. Celeste?
Just a request for talking about HSS and seismic upgrade, not for now, but for the future. If it's looking as though the seismic upgrade is not happening, can we have a conversation at some point about risk and risk mitigation in knowing that that is probably not going to be happening, just given where we live in terms of
Mhm.
seismic
Yeah, certainly.
risk? Yeah. Thanks.
I guess that's it. So there's nothing wrong with us moving ahead. So we can keep going. Okay, so this brings us to 5B, Transit Hub Pemberton. And this is something that Melissa asked to have added to the agenda.
Yeah, there's been quite a bit of talk around Pemberton about the safety of the transit hub being so close to the school. So I'm wondering if it's possible to know if the building that they're building is within the outskirts of the 300 meters in policy 904. And where do you measure from? Do you measure from the school? Do you measure from the edge of the school property? The reason that this is coming up is in Pemberton, there was a bathroom, or there is a bathroom by the Blackbird Bakery, which is never open because of the amount of violence, drugs and alcohol that happen in that bathroom. The village of Pemberton would go in there to clean it and they're like, we can't even be in here safely. It has to be shut down. So now we have a bathroom. My understanding is it's a shower, a change room, a hub station where you can park, you can shower, you can ride your bike, you can take the bus. So it really is a place for transient use, for things to happen that are unseen. And there's a lot of worry about it being so close to a school. So I'd like to know if we can get some more information on that. As well, our school is not fenced, and we decided that after having it looked at, that it wasn't necessary to have it fenced. Now there is really nothing between the school and this new area that's been built by the village. As well as how do we keep kids from going in there and being the ones who are also escaping the school to, I'm not accusing the kids of doing drugs, but I'm saying it is in the schools. What's keeping the kids from going in there and hiding. So I don't know how everyone else feels about that, but there's some questions.
Danielle, I see your name is there as well. Was there something you had to add?
Yeah. So Melissa emailed this to me, so I do have some answers, but no, I wasn't aware of what. I'm glad you ended up speaking to it. I wasn't aware of what the security risk was exactly. So I asked Ian to look into this a bit. So he's saying the distance from the nearest corner to the property to the hub is about 300 feet. And it's well within the 300 meters. The intent.
That's a big difference.
300 meters.
Yeah, that's not
That's what you're saying. It's
this is-
within, it's not, it doesn't meet that threshold of 300 meters because it's under, is that what you mean by within?
The transit hub is within, so it's saying the distance from the nearest corner of the school
So it's-
property, but not the school.
So it's so we measure from the property.
So this is what he's saying. The intent of the 300 meters is from the school grounds to the front door. So technically like this, in this case, the school grounds to the closest driving surface in the hub. So the transit hubs, I mean, the potential risk to students you just talked about. I wasn't sure if it was like you were worried about them hit by a bus or something like that, so.
We can
add that too.
I didn't think about that, but
Yeah.
yeah, there.
So there is a project manager with the Village of Pemberton that we could write I mean, if the board chooses, they could write a letter to about these concerns. And we had,
Would they not have consulted us at all?
no, well, they didn't. Yeah, so typically this.
So they don't have to
policy-
adhere to our policy.
No, they don't. They have their own municipal. So typically the policy is meant to like let us know about businesses that are going against like a vape shop or something like that. And really like they have their own municipal laws. So whatever they're required to do doesn't mean that they're like, it's up to whatever their municipal laws are, not us. Like we can't establish like laws for them, right?
Sorry, but technically, through local government act, they are supposed to to consult with certain aspects. Remind me, the one I sent you about the new hub street, that the District of Squamish isn't consulting with the school district either. So I think we need to maybe assert ourselves a little bit stronger with the municipalities that these are the things that the school board is interested in too, not limited to. And we have an expectation, just as you would do a resident consultation with the neighbors in a certain vicinity, that we too are those neighbors within that certain vicinity, and we need the consultation. So maybe it's just a quick letter on our part to all the regional districts, all the municipalities up and down the corridor, just in case they've had turnover on their municipal staff, so that we are getting that consultation phase, because the hub right across from Garibaldi Elementary School, a new bus hub right beside the school. These are things that we, as the governing body for the schools, should be having a communication dialogue so that our concerns can be addressed before they start putting shovels in the ground or asphalt on the pavement.
So I believe we have a meeting with the Village of Pemberton on January 13th.
We have one?
I think so. That's what Councillor Craddock said to me a couple days ago. Because I think we set one when we last met with this, but I don't recall any of this. Yeah,
I remember us talking that we needed to meet more frequently.
yeah.
We did say that.
Well, I ran into Ted
Yeah.
in Pemberton, and he goes, oh, I'm gonna be away. I'm gonna miss our meeting. And I'm like, we have a meeting?
Yeah,
We should find out, first of all, if we do have a meeting with them on
Okay,
January
I'm not
13th.
aware of it.
And then we should also make sure that this is an agenda item when we have a conversation with them, whenever that may be. But in the meantime, I think a letter would. Because I know the trouble with that bathroom by Blackbird. And whatnot, and we need to keep that away from our schools. Especially our elementary school.
It's right across from the community center too. It's a really.
Mhm.
And beyond Pemberton, I agree with Lisa. I think a reminder to the other councils that when you're considering these developments in areas that include our school or in close proximity to our school, we need to have a conversation at least, like the consultation process. They seem to be over overlooking it.
And then I wonder, why do we have this in policy when nobody has to follow it?
Yeah.
It gets redundant. So, Cynthia?
I think this comes back to when we talked about policy 904 last month, the land use near schools, and I maybe not clearly like expressed what my concern was, but this is exactly what my concern was. In our policy, there's nothing that makes it a requirement that people developing within 300 meters, I think it's 300 meters of any of our properties are required to consult with us. Like it's not in. We can't. Okay, maybe that
So
was
I
the
think
conversation.
what Lisa's suggesting about, maybe we write a letter to
Yeah.
each one of the municipalities stating, please, as a reminder, please consult us on it.
I'd like to reference the section of the local government act that says they have to do that.
What concerns me though is that we have a policy that says this. And maybe the public's looking at it and says, oh, the school district's taking care of this because it's in their policies when it is not happening. So that's one piece. Lisa, go ahead.
So I just pulled up a quick thing. It's actually the community charter. Pardon me. It's been a while since I've been in that world, but it acknowledges that consultation on matters of mutual interest is a key principle defining the local provincial relationship, recognizing that the citizens of BC are best served when both orders of governance respect each other's jurisdictions and work together. It's within the community charter. Therefore, be it resolved that the provincial government ensure the principles of mutual respect, consultation, and cooperation. So yeah, and then it's the provincial's response, all the things. So it's the community charter that defines all of it.
So they have policy too.
Yeah.
They're not following.
Okay, so our next steps are to work on a letter to the various communities.
Yeah, can I just add a couple things too?
Yeah.
Okay, so in regards to the fence, we did look into that as well. However, BC Hydro expressed concerns about putting a fence directly under transmission lines. So I guess they've been in discussion with the village of Pemberton, and they did say that they're considering putting in some garden beds in between. Garden beds.
They're already there.
Yeah,
Oh, they
aren't
are
they there?
Yeah, it doesn't affect anything with the school, it's just the garden. Fenced garden area, and it's fenced with like rails, you can go in and help it up. Should you choose to,
And it doesn't even cover the entire
no.
area.
Maybe they want to.
Indoor rent, it's. Not,
Okay, it's not helpful.
not a deterrent.
Can I just clarify? So I just wanted to look at what the policy said. So the wording in our policy is that the board will generally restrict its attention to any proposed changes within 300 meters of an existing school. I don't think that it's problematic that our policy says that. I think that
That's totally different interpretation than not that I understood, but
Okay.
that I've been hearing.
Yes, I think perhaps the way it was articulated is different than the way that it's written in the policy
Yeah.
and maybe how people read it. But I think that it is helpful for us to have this because it guides our
So
scope.
if we were asked, we would say we'd prefer not within 300 meters is how I interpret that.
The way I interpret this is that if we are going to critically assess something, the focus of our scope will be within a 300 meter radius.
That's what I'm saying. So if we were asked, if we don't know it's gonna happen and until they start building, like how can
Right.
we exercise our,
Yeah.
opinion on it?
Yeah,
So if all these things are happening and throughout the district, then
they should be talking to us.
yes, that's the bottom. line.
And the regional district as well as the municipalities, just
Yes.
in case they do
Yeah.
anything. Yeah.
300 meters of all, from all points of the school property, correct?
Well, I don't think
I'm
it,
thinking about Garibaldi.
It's encouraging us. It's not,
Yeah.
it's not.
yeah,
Findings.
Yeah.
that's right. Yeah, I don't think it has to be that.
Right.
We
descriptive.
have a guest coming on.
But I think he's coming at 11. We have 15.
Oh, sorry, I thought you said 11:15. Sorry.
We're good.
Okay, we're good.
And then just.
Yeah.
Just to say from staff perspective, my perspective, if folks are interested in terms of giving advice, which is part of my role, thank you. Because I think that board, letters to municipalities about these kinds of things is absolutely your wheelhouse. And I think it's really powerful as well. And there's where, right, the governance piece and the power of the board to have the best interests of the district and the kids and safety at mind is important. And so thank you. And I applaud you for bringing it up.
Yeah.
Because we weren't, as Danielle said, we were not informed about the build either. So yeah, I just want to say you obviously have staff full support. So as we go forward, just let us know how we can help you to help exercise your governance role in this. So thank you.
Yeah, and I don't recall this being a topic when we met with the Village of Pemberton.
Interesting.
No,
That
either.
it was not brought up. And
And we talked a lot about buses. So
We talked about that whole bus
came
loop
up.
and,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I didn't realize that there was a building going in with the, like, I thought it would be like an open bus area where you can hide on a shelter waiting for a bus. I didn't realize there was bathrooms and showers. and-
No, I didn't write
Yeah.
that. I know until you raised it. I'm like, oh.
Okay, so my question is, okay, so we can do it like a general, like, please consult us, but for the Pemberton one specifically, do we want to have something tailored about that specific?
Yes.
Yes.
Right?
And let's double check if we do have a scheduled meeting, because there's nothing in.
I don't have
our
any.
district schedule. So. Good to know.
Ted just threw it out, I went into him shopping in Pemberton.
Oh.
Good thing I'm up to the 10, or we all be.
Yeah, no kidding.
See, that's a good opportunity.
Yeah, and ask them, we have an upcoming meeting.
Knowing Ted.
So I might run that one by you, to
Yeah.
make sure I have everything. Okay.
And the chair, just as per policy, right? That's the.
Yeah, I think all the letters
It
will
would-
go
it would
through the
come from the
chair
chair.
and they'll come from the chair.
Just, I think she meant just to make sure she's got.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Her concerns.
The concerns, yeah. Perfect.
Okay, so, there's nothing else on that. We can do the January, ed session. That should be relatively quick.
Yeah.
12 minutes.
Yeah, so we put out the poll and the highest vote was for the BCSCA Leadership Series on Jordan's Principle. So I believe there's a video. I'm not sure if I think that was really, there's a something to big on spot.
Yeah, the idea of Jordan's Principle, that came from the Canadian School Board Association conference. And so I would have to look back and see if I can
Okay,
find where it. I know there was, I believe they presented the title of a movie that you could watch.
I think there might be something on the.
I have to look,
Okay,
So is the intent to learn about Jordan's Principle or,
it'd be interesting to learn and understand
you know,
what it is.
I'm just asking
Yeah,
for definition of what we're looking at, because I know that there's a class action lawsuit that's happening with Jordan's Principle. There's failure to deliver.
Yeah, I knew-
There's a whole, and it's all public knowledge.
Yeah.
We're in an open
this
meeting.
is what, yeah, this is what they talked about at CSBA,
Okay.
all those things.
Yeah.
And it's something that I don't know anything about except this 90-minute presentation. And
Mm-hmm.
so I just thought it might be something that is good knowledge to have.
Yep.
And clearly other people.
Oh, I think it would be too. April?
Yeah, I agree, Cynthia, that's a good one. There was some, There was some talk of the case, one of the cases that, one of the legal ones that I was in at BCSTA spoke about it as well. I just want to add, I spoke to Suzanne and Carolyn at the end of their session on the 6 modules, and they are prepared to come to districts. So that could possibly be an education piece for us. The 6 modules are pretty, I think they're going to become super relevant for us as trustees, and it might be nice to get some education on that in the early days. So they're doing they call it their traveling roadshow.
If they were happy to do a traveling roadshow for January 28th or whatever our date
Right.
is, I would be on board.
Right.
to
Well, if
hear
you'd
from them
want,
as
I
well.
can
And
ask.
it might be less work for our staff. to
So
not have
is
to-
Yeah.
what number 3 is on our survey? The
No.
BCSTA leadership series?
No,
Or
no,
is it something
it's
different
because
again?
the survey came out before BCSTA. So I didn't know about these 6 module things. Right? It wasn't included.
The only reason I'm asking is that we polled the board.
Yes.
The board selected their preferences and now you're adding something to it.
Yes.
So I don't know what the rest of the trusts, how the rest of the trustees feel.
There. I'm just throwing it out there.
Yeah.
because I did ask them and they said yes.
Now, we could, and it sounds really great. It sounds like whatever they put together is excellent. We could re-poll people to see if they're interested in doing that one instead, or you just go with what is everybody. With
And
what
when is
was voted.
this for?
January 28th.
Any thoughts?
I'm happy, I am happy to change. To make a change to the results of our poll right now, because I do feel like this is. Also very relevant to us, very close, and. If there is an opportunity, we don't always have opportunities for people from BCSTA to come and speak, and if there is an opportunity, maybe we should take advantage of that, and we can put Jordan's principal. Next in line.
Or if we can't make it happen as quick as January 28th, we could do the reverse.
True.
Well, and I'm curious, so they're working on behalf of BCSTA, so it'd be free of charge, or
No,
are they
I-
doing this
you know what?
independent?
I didn't ask that. So I should have.
Because they might be doing it independently, because neither one of them.
Yeah. I don't know.
Past president and former CEO.
CEO. They could be. Or they could be hired by BCSTA to develop. I think they were hired by BCSTA to develop it.
Yeah,
Whether the presenting part is a entrepreneur thing or. Through BCSTA, I could find out pretty quickly by just emailing Gordon.
so my thoughts on it, seeing no other hands, would be, we don't have enough information to get
Correct.
them here for January 28th. We're breaking next week for a couple of weeks, and then we'll have our next board meeting. So, I think it's a bit too soon, not that I'm opposed to it by any stretch.
disagree.
And then, we asked staff to do surveys for us to set these things up with items, and then, you know, I think we should stick with, you know, the interest, and it looked like a fairly, you know, clear that the majority wanted Jordan's principle.
Okay, I found my notes on.
Oh, did you have?
No, my glasses.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
They're new, right?
The nose, yeah, I'm trying to take care of myself. See part of that.
There
Thanks.
Cynthia?
I think I just found the notes that I took on this, on Jordan's principle, so I can. Yeah, okay. All good.
All good? Yeah.
I'll
Yep.
also just jump in that again, if that's an area of interest, staff is also able to, you know, as just part of a general discussion item, right? Briefly, like we're obviously very much aware of Jordan's principle from our perspective and
Mhm.
what it is, what it isn't, some of the legal challenges, et cetera. So if there's also interest of staff providing a presentation, I would say in the public, because it's an important thing to be aware of. It's in support of tooth reconciliation, so something for a future agenda setting, but perhaps if folks want a brief primer before doing a deep dive, I know the staff would be happy to support and go with that during the board meeting.
So we have enough information. I'm not seeing any other hands.
No, sorry, I do need some more
Yeah.
information, so I just want, my understanding, I thought there was some kind of a video, but I just want to just check with the board. There's a video.
Yeah.
I thought it was like a 90-minute video.
I'll double check.
Does,
Well, that's what it's saying on the survey results.
yeah.
And it
does-
says each, 90 minutes each.
Oh, those are the ed sessions. Those are the new ed sessions that are coming out that they talked about at Academy this past go round.
And one of them is Jordan's Principle.
No, those are two.
I'm just saying, I'm
things.
reading this thing. It says Jordan's Principle dash new leadership series by BCSTA,
Yeah.
90 minutes each. So that's
Mm,
the survey result. So I'm just going based on
Okay.
what's in front of me.
I think those are two different things. It
Yeah.
might just be typed so it looks like one
I
thing,
think so.
but
too.
they're two different things.
Yeah, I think that. Yeah, see the leadership series, that was just in there by accident, I think, because it's actually number 3. You can just ignore that.
Okay.
Okay, so. Is everybody okay we'll organize something here at the board office for that day then?
Yeah.
Okay.
I do have a question. If there's a video, can we, like, we're planning to watch that in advance and then we'll talk for the ed session.
Is that what everyone?
We're not watching the video together. We'll watch that before.
I would guess, yeah.
Okay. I just want to make sure
If
that's,
there's a video, I'm getting confused because now that 90 minutes each piece isn't part of it.
that's not part of it. If whoever procures the video, give it to us like a couple weeks in advance, that would be amazing. Or
Yeah,
even like
ASAP.
as soon as possible, and then we can watch it over the holidays.
Okay, so it sounds like this is good discussion. The board wants to watch it and then come together to have discussion. Okay, thanks.
It's an National Film Board movie.
Okay.
I think it's from the National Film Board, the video. I'm sending it to Danielle right now.
Okay.
And I apologize, I thought I misinterpreted. I thought we were moving away from Jordan's, but we are doing.
I think
Yeah,
we're
yeah,
back.
Great,
Yes.
thank you. My apologies.
It's full
We
circle.
are doing.
So-
And maybe your idea can merge with the idea of having watched the video.
After the fact.
We can talk about it on the
There we are.
28th. Yeah.
Thank you, Celeste.
But also, like how you said, what Jordan's Principle is and isn't. I always appreciate those, so
Yeah.
you can come prepared with the.
Is that something that you would like to see for the next board meeting in January?
No, not if we're doing it all together.
I'm confusing everyone. I'm sorry.
Yes. All right, just leave it with me, Chris. Fit with Danielle. She's in the- Okay, I see Kevin is in the
Yep,
meeting room.
okay.
So
Let him
thanks,
in.
everybody. Appreciate that.
Okay, so next up, we have 5A, which is strategic plan with Kevin Godden. We're a couple minutes early, Kevin. Are you there? There you are. Hello.
How are you?
We're great, thanks. Trying to stay dry. That's about it.
Yeah, I've got gills out here. It hasn't stopped raining for the last 10 hours. It's just unbelievable.
Where are you?
Abbotsford.
Oh, okay. Well, I think we
Yeah.
have about 10 days.
Well,
So-
yeah, I
so
guess
welcome,
it comes with the
and I will-
territory.
Yeah. Welcome. We have 6 trustees in the room and we have 1 online. And some staff, as you can see. So I will let you take it away.
All right. Well, thank you so much. And thank you for taking the time to meet with me and just share a little bit about some of the work I've been doing with the team. I don't know, Chris, did you want to say anything before I launched in, or?
Yeah, I think I'll just like to welcome you, of course, and also to, again, apologize to the board. In my mind, we had already met together. I think it's because Kevin and I and the team here at the board office have met a number of times. And then when it was brought up that Kevin had not yet actually met all of you, I felt very, very bad. And so we wanted to make sure that that opportunity was there. So my apologies again for not doing introductions earlier. And maybe I'll leave it there. I have updated the board on a number of things that we've been doing, but not the most recent things. I'll do that later in the open. So I know that you have a planned presentation and opportunity for a Q&A. So I'll leave it to you. And again, my apologies for not introducing all of you sooner, and looking forward to the conversation today. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you, Chris. Yeah, I'm delighted to meet with you and share a little bit, about myself and more about the work that we've been doing, and which I'm super excited about. You might know that I'm the recently retired superintendent in Abbotsford School District. Served in that role for the last 13 years, and retired in 2023. And now I do have the pleasure of doing some of this work with various organizations and school districts. I've been what I will say is a student of strategy for a long time. And so in addition to obviously doing some of this very work with my own school district, my own board and organization, you might know that I am for the last 2 years, I've been the chair of the provincial review team that reviews all the enhancing student learning reports. And so that's just been a wonderful learning experience, first of all. But to get the opportunity to, in 2 successive years, to read through 60 strategic plans in the province and learn so much about the wonderful work that's going on, it's been a real treat for me, and especially so doing that with the Sea to Sky team. I want to leave more time for questions than anything else, but I wanted to just do a little overview. I'm sure you've seen some of the pieces of the work plan, but I thought I would start there and then just share what I like to call some big ideas related to building strategy, some things that I will say perhaps I've learned, and I think the team is certainly putting into play as we do the work, and understanding obviously it's not done, but there's some, I'll say, some hallmarks of a really good strategic plan that I think we've learned over time in the school system, and we're trying to take advantage of that learning in this space. So I'm going to try to share my screen. So just give me 1 second here. Okay. Can you see that?
Yeah, let's do that.
Excellent. All right. You still see that? Still good?
That's good.
Wonderful. So, as Chris mentioned, we started some conversations last, I guess would have been in the summer, to get some of this work started, to really build the plan out. And what you see here, you've probably seen before, which is the steps that the team has mapped out in building the plan. And so if you go back to the far left around pre-planning, that was just I'll say a lot of conversation, really good conversation about some of your aspirations, some of the work that the board had done with Joe Krona before. It's an opportunity to see what and to put on the table what we know about the district and what we want to learn. And so did some of that work and took a fair bit of time in amassing all the the documents that we would need to have a look at and you know, as you say, build the team and you know, identify how we wanted to be together when we were together. So that was really important pre-work and something that sometimes is overlooked by teams in mapping out how they want to be and how they want to show up. And so it was a really important part of that, especially for someone like me who is not a part of the ongoing and daily lived experiences, to put a lot of those things that you know or come to know in the organization is super important. Then, you know, the critical phase is what, you know, in strategic parlance is called that really doing a gap analysis, but it's really just about how you assess and organize all of the documents and information and things that you know about the district and putting them on the table and really looking yourself in the mirror and saying, this is great, this is not so great, we need to improve this is a place that we need to go. And so that was a lot of work that the team did in helping to kind of build, and there's a document that we built which basically just assessed where we are in terms of all of the key components of strategy. And then, you know, it's the launch that comes next, is engaging and listening. I'm going to speak about that in a little bit more about that in a moment, but this is absolutely critical that be done in a thoughtful, accessible, meaningful, powerful way. And while we understand that, you know, people who work at the board office and as system governors who have a responsibility for this, there are certain things that you know, but there are also things that you have to be curious about. And that curiosity comes with deep engagement and deep listening and an openness to challenging assumptions that you've had about your district. And so that's the phase that you are in now. And there's a design feature about, you know, seeing and engaging and doing it in multiple ways. So there's multiple access points for people for whom the system is supposed to serve. And, you know, caution is warranted about how you do that. And I think that the design that the team has is wonderful and has multiple access points and has co-creation written all over it. So that's the really interesting part. And I always encourage people not to rush this, right? There's a tendency to want to get it done, right? And get the information and get on with the work. And deep listening takes time. And so I will speak to that in a moment, but there's this idea of recursive engagement that you don't want to saturate people by coming to them constantly over and over again, but you want to do it enough so that you hear what they have to say, you filter it, and you confirm what they say, and you show them what you have done with what they have said. And so that's where the team is now. And so, you know, the next phases of kind of developing, which is, you know, kind of where the team is gonna move to, and then, you know, drafting critical components and finalizing and so on. You know, those are the weeks and months ahead. But this stage that we are at now, this engaging and listening, is critical. And it actually, you know, if there's a way to graph it, you know, I always tell people that it actually it doesn't end. It doesn't end here, because you're going to if it's recursive, you're going to engage and listen as you develop. You're going to engage and listen as you ideate and draft. And that's how you create inclusive strategy, by letting people know that their voices matter and the work that the aspirations that you have for them are really manifested through you know, what they share with you and some of the outcomes that you hope. So just some things I want to share with you to kind of spark your your curiosity and your thinking about strategy, some things that I'll say I've learned over the last little while. I'll call them big ideas for leading inclusive strategy. And what I mean by inclusive in this respect is the commitment that we have for all students, regardless of, what I used to say in my school district is regardless of their postal code. It doesn't matter where they are in the system, they matter. And the strategy that we build needs to include and consider every child, every family, based on those needs. So some big ideas. The obvious one, and it might sound super obvious to you, but again, as a person who's read 60 strategic plans, I can tell you that sometimes we forget that this is the North Star, this is the driver, and sometimes embed things in a strategic plan. I won't say that misses student learning, but conflates it. That there's sometimes so many things in our plans that we forget that the core of this is meaningful success for all learners. And so driving from there, making sure that your engagement strategy is inclusive of that. The data that you gather is about first and foremost about student success and well-being. And the way the plan looks at the end needs to scream student success, and it has to be clearly evident. And some school districts in the province, I'll say, mute that, put it in such a way that it doesn't completely manifest that. So I state the obvious here, but it's an important design feature that if that's the North Star, then your process needs to be locked in about student success. And that's what I love about the questions and survey questions that the team generated. They speak about student success. They speak about an aspiration that is embedded in the mission and vision for the organization. I'm sure you might have heard it's a quote, I think, attributed to educational theorist named Edward Deming. And the quote is that every system is perfectly designed to give you exactly what you're getting today. And so it's a challenge to every system that if you are experiencing places where not all kids are successful, that it is what you have designed that is contributing to that, and that you have to be alive to that reality and then be open to doing something different. And that in part rests with your vision for equity beyond just policy, and I'll say moving it into a place of practice into the classroom. It's your equity commitment is not about it's not a program. It's a lens. It's the way you look at everything in the organization that you think might be impeding student success, the students that you are most concerned about. The other big idea is what I referenced earlier, which is, we have when I use the term we broadly, I'll say people who are responsible for strategic plans have gone from, not engaging people to doing so passively, to now learning that deep engagement is the path forward. That when you trust people, they'll become trustworthy. And so finding thoughtful and meaningful way to co-create with students and the Indigenous community and families and typically underserved population, not only does it open the door for the outcome that you hope for, but the very process of letting people know that their voices matter and sitting eye to eye and knee to knee with them and listening to their lived experience, that is an outcome because it builds trust. And trust is the part of the pathway to success. So, I can't overstate just how important this stage is again. All of those voices, they absolutely matter. And how you let them know it matters is by recursively engaging with them and keep asking the question, whose are the voices that we're missing, and how do we engage them in a way that is thoughtful and trust building? The other piece and what I just appreciate about the team is a focus that adult and student learning is symmetrical, and this idea that yes, your students are the North Star, and there's an and here. The and is that focusing on well-being, and I'm not talking just about student well-being, but on organizational well-being, on staff well-being, is an important part of your strategy, and to not underemphasize, I guess, how important ensuring that well-being is built carefully into your strategy as a part of your organizational health. This is what brings people to your school district. This is what keeps them in your school district, that they feel a sense of value and appreciation, and that they look forward to doing the very work that you aspire them to do on an ongoing basis. And part of that commitment is expressing that in your strategy in an open way, so that people know that their work is valued and appreciated. There's a term, I'm not sure if this term is a part of your territory, but in Stolo culture, I'm in Abbotsford, which is a Stolo territory, and in Stolo territory, elders teach us about a term called Tumiak. And Tumiak is the principle of considering the well-being of 7 generations before and 7 generations after. So it asks you to consider what our ancestors have done and stewarded for us. And it also says, you have a responsibility for the generations to come. And so I always encourage people, when you are building your strategy, to think about tomorrow. And not just, and I don't mean tomorrow, but well ahead of that, about how you want your students years from now to be, and how you want to build it in such a way that it respects the land, the territory, and the next generation. So an important point to consider. I mean, I'm getting slightly ahead because we haven't got to the place of building strategy yet, but it's an important lens to think about, not just in terms of building it, but also about how you engage people at the stage that we're in, to think about tomorrow. And as I say, it's a wonderful term that we've learned from elders here called Tumiak. And I'm like I said, I'd be curious to find out if that's a term that is used in your territory. And again,
I will say yes.
Oh, good. Oh, thank
Yeah,
you.
we do talk about the 7 generations.
Oh,
for sure.
wonderful. Wonderful. Thank you.
Well, you know what? I shouldn't say that. I'm Statlium, so the Statlium does. I'm not 100% if Squamish does as well.
I
Okay.
can speak to that and acknowledge that they
talk.
absolutely as well. In fact, there was a recent session, well, not that recent, but at Totem Hall, I was invited to that presentation, and it was the youth putting forward again the plan for the next 100 years or 120 years,
Yeah.
which was the 7
Oh, wonderful.
generational thinking. So yes.
Wonderful.
And I appreciate how you qualified that. Thank you for that teaching to
Yeah.
remind all of us that different
Different
agencies
territories.
have, yeah, different
Yeah.
protocols.
Yeah.
and learnings. Thank you.
That's fabulous. I've one of the things I've learned again in spending so much time with school districts and their plans is to get a sense about, so then you build your strategy, and then how do you activate it? How do you make sure that all of that energy that you spent in aspiring and planning and engaging turns into something that is action oriented relative to those challenges that people have shared? And you know, it's a hard work. When I used to work, secretary treasurer I used to work with, um, he's now in Surrey School District. He would say that he is tired of seeing strategic plans where people are striving to do something, right? We will strive to. He says to stop striving and just do. And so the lesson that I have learned is about making sure that the work that you do at this phase turns into very clear action-oriented steps that as a board you can then say, I see a connection between our mission, vision, values, and guiding principles, and this plan that the district team has established, and I see strong connections between them, and there are opportunities for us as a board to learn about what actions are being taken relative to those aspirations that we have captured. So, you know, the strategic plan is only as good as your ability to activate it. And as my colleague used to say, stop striving, just do, would be his message. So I will stop there. Those are my big ideas that I'm delighted to work with the team on, and I'm just looking forward to seeing how this stage unfolds, and I look forward to sharing some updates with you as the process rolls its way along. So I'll entertain any questions or reflections that you might have.
April?
So thank you so much for sharing, Kevin. And it's nice to meet you. I was excited when you said that the board's involvement with Joanna Krona is a piece of this. And then I heard you say about voices matter, good processes and outcome. And I'm wondering, was that consultation with Joanna Krona the board's voice? And when will it be included with your work?
So, and perhaps Chris can help me with this, but the work that Joe did with you was really about setting the stage and building the aspirational picture for the organization. There's some critical components to good strategy. It's mission, vision, values, guiding principles. That's the board's work. The board is a direction setter in this. And I will say, and what is good practice is for you to see how what you have started with Joe resonates with the field. And so some of the questions that are in surveys and focus interviews, they touch on that, and it's an opportunity for people to hear where the board is, and to also give some initial feedback that you might consider that you'd want to potentially adjust some of your guiding principles, for instance, or something like that. I'm just using that as an example. So at some point in the process, not too distant, there's going to be a ton of information that the team has to wade through. And some of that information is about mission, vision, values, guiding principles. Other piece of it are more discrete and specific to outcomes that the team wants, objectives and goals and so on. So different people will be working with different pieces. I suspect that you will want to get a sense of how people have reflected on questions related to the work that was initially drafted by Joe. And so that will, I think, should get parsed off and could have a, I'll say, a parallel conversation with the board about that, because I think it would be helpful to, what mission statements are, right? Sometimes you have to be careful that they're not just statements that get hidden and nobody ever sees them. And so they have to be lived, and people need to hear, see, feel, think about them. And so part of the work is the board. You've done the first part, you've done some drafts. Now you want to hear what people are saying, and then you also want to, it's recursive. You want to go back out and saying, well, this is what we heard you say, and this is where we are going with it, right? So there's some processes in there that you will do that by the time we get to June, you should have a clear mission statement, a clear vision statement, a clear set of values and guiding principles, and people should feel that they had an opportunity to reflect on and give you some feedback about them.
Yeah. So later in the day in the open, right, I'll provide the update and share where we're at with the working group. If you recall, we have a number of partner groups and First Nations that are part of that separately. And so what we're doing now is completing that work, and then we will be going back to them to say, here's what you shared, here's what we thought we heard. Did we get this right? So we need to coordinate and bring together all of those voices, and then again reflect it back to the board, because I suspect there might be some opportunity for some more conversation about the guiding principles and values, even about the mission statement itself, so that the board feels that they're not just reflecting back in what they believe in as trustees of the system, but in reflecting back what the community feels, and in alignment with, and this would be my role, is always bringing us back to alignment with the Ministry of Education in terms of its view of the and hope for the educated citizen, alignment with truth and reconciliation, alignment with all of our values around inclusion, etc. So we're in the mix right now, and really looking forward to those opportunities to share. Kevin, do you mind sharing a little bit? You shared with our team before that it really tweaked for me about your not necessarily suggestion, but thoughtful reflection on even the terms around a mission statement or a vision, and the notion of maybe consolidating it down and reflecting everything we do through the board's governance statements about who you expect us and really demand of us to be. Can you speak to that for a moment?
Yeah. There's, in strategic parlance, I'm always careful when I'm going to preface the term before I say it, that I'm always careful to not make it sound pejorative, but in strategic parlance, the terms mission, vision, values can be seen as somewhat colonial. So I prefaced it, and what we're learning about building inclusive strategies is that there are ways, the words that we use matter. And so there are ways to capture those sentiments without completely dismissing them. And so oftentimes, mission we refer to as a shared purpose. Vision is our collective aspiration. and values become our commitments to each other. And while it might sound nuanced and it might sound like wordsmithing, those words matter if you are alive to underserved populations and the standard way that school systems have engaged them, which has been poorly, to tell the truth. And so, you know, finding a new language for engaging and doing it in authentic, human-centered ways matters. And so that's what I've encouraged the team, and I'll encourage you as a board that terms like that create more invitational spaces, I believe, for the community. And so when you say we have a collective aspiration, what it says is we aspire for something, we aspire for something, all of us. And so, you know, it might sound like just a nuanced difference, but like I say, the words matter. And so I've been encouraging the team to if you want to build an inclusive strategy, remember the saying, right? The system is designed to get exactly the results that you are getting now. So if you want to redesign the system, part of it is you begin to think about the words that you use to engage and think about students and learning and community and so on. And those are things that, you know, it's kind of built into the way that we've always done things. And we need to find better and more human-centered ways to do it. And so that's part of what I've been encouraging the team to do. And I see that evident in so many of the questions that were asked, but also how they were asked and how people are going to position themselves to ask. It's really part of how you dismantle the status of the way you've always done things in favor of a better way, because as I said, process is an outcome. The way you design it will help to dictate what you do and how people will feel about it. And that's been part of the work that, you know, and I'll say, you know, Sea to Sky is no different in the learning that you are doing with other school districts as they build their strategy, realizing that they can be more connected to their communities by how they position themselves to do the work.
Thank you for that. And I'll just share that in conversation with the nations, you know, informally and formally, when I did the sessions with the ISWs in North and the South, that when I brought up that notion of the collective, of course, that was a light bulb moment for me. And I remember Joy McCullough, as we all know, just sort of smiling and said, we've been talking about the collective for how long, that it is it's community. So I think there's a beautiful opportunity as we do the work too, to really honor the lands that we're on, whether that's in the south on Squamish territory or in the north on St'át'imc nations, and just honoring Liwat, Nakwak, Mushamakwam, and looking for language and as a gift, not to impose, but to ask for that support, and ensuring that the words that we use are also reflective of Indigenous languages. And we have we had a beautiful conversation both with the North and the South around how the strat plan needs to also reflect those differences, so that we're honoring place and in the right way. They'll be under an umbrella, of course, but in the right way, so that when you're in the North, you can point to some specific things in the strat plan with the language, and you know you're in the North, and we're in the South. So I just will say that was a really great learning for me. And I shared with the team that really resonated with me, Kevin, when you were speaking about the shift in language, and it's more than just a token change. Yes, words matter. So yeah, I'm excited by that. Thank you.
April has her hand up and just a reminder, we've got a few minutes.
Too. And I won't steal the airtime. I've already spoken, so maybe if I make this super quick, but I'd like to maybe I'm gonna let Celeste go first.
Sorry, Celeste.
It's okay. No, I put it up after. I'll be really fast. It is so, so nice to meet you, Kevin. Thank you so much for the work that you're doing for us. It's really great to have this introduction. And what I heard was that we're going to have the opportunity to interact with you again before we see sort of the final product. I just wanted to make one comment because I wasn't sure how much interaction we would have with you. So you said you had a slide on well-being driving student outcomes. What is very important to me is that if possible, our strategic plan is not just focused on the well-being of the students, but focused on the well-being of the people working in the building, because when we focus on the well-being of those people, our students will also benefit. So I hope that that's part of it. And thank you. And you're lovely. And yeah.
I know I'm short for time, but there's a book I remember reading long ago, which just resonated. I just thought of it, which is said, if you don't feed the teachers, they'll eat the children. And so, you know, it's just a reminder about the symmetry, about caring for the adults. That's a part of the pathway to your student success. So yeah, I'm totally on board with you.
Thank you, Kevin.
Okay, this is probably going to be a longer answer than we have time for, but I'm just going to throw it out there. We talk a lot about student success. We've talked about student success as long as I've been in education, which has been a longer than I like to remember. Way back, we had strategic plans based on literacy, numeracy, and social responsibility, and that was kind of the end of the depth of it all. And fortunately, I've been in the system now, and I've seen a move away from that towards more of a capacity influenced curriculum, and therefore embedded in a strategic plan that we now have, where we're talking about Indigenous ways of knowing and being and doing and learning. And we're also talking about growing humans, not just, did you get 98% on your math test? Not that I would ever be one that would move away from the academic base of education, because obviously it's an influence. And I'm also seeing now, as I'm watching, my daughter in the system and my son in the system and now grandchildren in the system, that we are seeing a lack of stamina among our youth, and resiliency is a big push word now. And so I'm wondering what your definition of student success is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I will offer you there was a time, because I've been around for a long time, where what used to be the accountability contracts, I'm sure you remember that term, asked districts to develop plans. They weren't called strategic plans at that point. But what I observed around the province, what I will say was a reductionist strategy, because what gets measured gets done. The superintendent of achievement would meet with the superintendent senior team, and they'd bring out the charts, and what they were interested in was what's the FSA score, the reading and writing and so on. And those things are important, absolutely important. The caution I would always offer to people is that those things are important, and other things are important as well. And what building strategy is about you deciding which ones you are going to put an emphasis on as a team. I say you'll have a list of things that'll come out of it that you'll want to do. You'll have a long list. And my advice to people is always this: you can do it all, just not at once. You're going to have to prioritize where your focus area is, because there's only so much energy that your team has, that your teachers have, that your administrators have. And so, you know, to answer your question, the student success is broad and wide ranging. And you are going to have to decide which of the critical components you want to invest your energy in, because the evidence suggests that, the feedback points that way, your teachers are telling you about that, your support staff, the Indigenous community, the nations are speaking to. You are going to have to decide where you're going to spend more of your energy, because you cannot do it all, not at once.
Yeah, thank you. So I think with that, Kevin, I'm gonna, I'm assuming you accidentally put your hand up?
I probably did. You know what?
picked it up,
Yeah, I probably did.
like
Yeah,
this.
thank you.
Yeah,
Oh,
I thought, I
really?
was wondering there.
It's because he was using his hands gesture.
Yeah.
My
Did Lars do
computer's-
that?
I think he might have a fancy computer. Mine is on.
That's what happens. It just warned me that it was capturing my emotions, right? Isn't that? Yeah.
Excellent. But thank you for taking the time to come and meet with us today. And we do have a hard stop, as we have staff coming to join us for lunch.
Wonderful.
So we're gonna have to let you go, and we'll be talking soon. So if not before, then after the new year, and have a safe holidays.
All right. Well, you as well. Delightful to meet you all, and looking forward to working with you some more in the new year.
Awesome. Thanks so much.
Okay. Take care.
Thanks,
Bye.
Kevin.
Thank you. Okay, so we are going to table the Indigenous Ed session to the next meeting, because it's not a big rush. And I think we can in 3 minutes get through trustee compensation.
Try.
If not, then we're going to move it to the public meeting this evening.
Yep.
So take it away.
Okay, so I've provided everybody with some background and also my recommendation. The document attached is my recommendation on what to put forward for trustee compensation. Archie has drafted 3 motions, and it's based on what we did last year. So I can ask her to put it up, and then you can make the motion, or we can have a discussion if you're not in agreement. I'm just trying to see if she's put it in there.
I think they were there.
Yeah, she's working on putting them in.
Okay, but the chart you provided there is
My recommendation.
your recommendation, and that's based on our previous conversations
Last
about
year.
taking the average from the South Coast branch.
That's right.
So there's a chart there, and that is that Danielle is recommending. Any thoughts?
Okay. Working on it.
Yeah, it follows your policy.
Yeah. If there are no thoughts on it, there is a recommendation that has been drafted, and it's in the agenda now. Read it.
I think I was
Celeste?
last question. I'm just trying to wrap my head around it. So on page 1, it's showing the average. Remind me again what we're actually getting now. Is that on page 2?
It's
No, that is just chair and vice chair.
17,000 something.
17,000. So it's an increase and then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
yeah, it's it's the average of what the school districts made last year for like the current year end of 2025, three school districts. So it's the average of the 3, and then it's that with CPI added on top of it. So what we actually got was like, or what the trustees were getting was less than that, because this took that into account. So there, in the email that was sent to you with the board package on Friday, it did show
Right.
the current amount in there.
Okay. That was the attachment.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's right.
We ready for the recommendation?
If you want. Yeah, if you want to make the motion, it's the recommendation sitting there.
Yeah, that the Board of Education amends School District 48 trustee compensation to a base pay of 19,660 in alignment with the South Coast Branch average effective January 1st, 2026.
April, is there a second for that motion? The recommendation? Thank you, Melissa. Are there any objections? Question?
I'll just comment just
Yep.
based on looking at this document. So it looks like it's about $100 a month-ish increase. Danielle, tell me if I'm off, plus the CPI. It's about $1,000 a year, looks like the increase from 17,764 to 19,152-ish, about $100 a month. And this is the same for everybody now. And people are submitting mileage on top of that. That's how we're doing it. Yeah,
Yes.
just so it's very clear what, yeah, okay.
The public knows what we're talking about.
Exactly,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. Guess we'll do all those in favor. And that's unanimous. So we have a second one.
The Board of Education amends the supplemental funding for the board chair to 5,027 in alignment with the South Coast Branch average effective January 1st, 2026.
Thank you for that. Thank you, Melissa. Any question? Okay, all those in favor? And unanimous. Yep.
That the Board of Education amends the supplemental funding for the board vice chair to 2,333 in alignment with the South Coast Branch average effective January 1st, 2026.
Thank you, second for that. Thank you, Lisa.
Make a comment.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, I just want to speak to the importance of ensuring that there is appropriate compensation rather for these two positions, just because of the immense workload. We've talked in the past about the sheer number of hours that have to go into serving in a position like chair and vice chair. So just to acknowledge that, you know, these supplemental honorariums, I guess we would call them honorariums, are very important to recognize the time and effort that's put into those roles.
Thank you for that. And I know you did point that out last year as well when we discussed it. And at the time, we were like, well, we're happy with, it not happened to be myself and Cynthia, that we're happy with going what the average is amongst our South Coast Branch. We thought that was fair. Anyone else? Okay, all those in favor? And carried. Any questions of clarification from the public? No. Okay, and with that, we've concluded the business of this